The arguments about democracy and the efficiency of authoritarian regimes was a constant theme during the 1930s. And certainly in the beginning of the Second World War, it appeared that the authoritarian, the totalitarian regimes were far more successful than the democracies. And people cite the fact that ultimately the democracies won as basically a best argument in favor of democracy versus authoritarianism. Other observers say, well, the reason democracies won was, number one, the extraordinary economic capacity of the United States to generate weapons, and also the ability of the Soviet people to defeat the Nazis. If our democracies can't produce the kinds of economic wealth that people have been hoping for, how much hope is there really for democracy as such?
Well, very good question. That is the nub of the issue. The victory in the Cold War was primarily, the economic victory of the Cold War was the driver. It was the driver. It was the impulse. I don't know if you read Mikhail Gorbachev did quite a good op-ed in the Times a couple of days ago, reflecting on perestroika. I lived through perestroika and glasnost in the former Soviet Union. It was an economic impulse. We cannot go on the way we are going on that led to the political reforms that happened. It was the lack of viability of the Soviet centralized economy that produced the changes. Now, what again, the 21st century challenge of these authoritarian states, Russia is on a different level because its economy is both highly powerful but also highly mono-based on oil and gas, and diversification, in spite of all the exhortations, has not happened. And it's both a frighteningly powerful, particularly to Central and Eastern Europe in terms of provision of energy. It has great potential to bully, but it doesn't have a great deal potential elsewhere. But obviously the challenge with China and Brazil and elsewhere is what is happening to Western economic model, whose success provided an imprimatur to the political model. As soon as that is being challenged, as we are now seeing with America's continued spats with China, then it is a much greater challenge to democracy.